So welcome everyone to this Team WSF Dish with Pepper. My name is Pepper Persley. I'm excited to be working with WSF to share the stories of some amazing female athletes competing in the Tokyo Olympics and Paralympics. Joining me today is Amy Dixon. Hi, Amy. How are you doing?
Good morning. Thanks for having me, Pepper. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm doing great.
I'm super excited to be chatting with you today. All right. So what does it mean to you to be a Paralympian?
Wow, it's a real honor to be able to represent my country in a way that I never imagined, especially as an older female athlete. Certainly, I thought this was out of the cards for me, but I'm just very excited and honored to represent the United States.
Yeah, I can't imagine what it means like in the pride to be able to wear USA across your chest and to be able to represent your country. How did your training change during the pandemic, and what does your training look like getting ready for the Paralympics?
Good question. So because I am a visually impaired or blind athlete, I need a guide in order to run safely out on the roads and on the track. And so during the pandemic, all the tracks shut down in San Diego and most of California, and the gyms all shut down. And so a local company that's involved with the YMCA where I train was kind enough to donate a commercial treadmill for me to use in my garage. So I've been training on that because of social distancing, I wasn't able to run with guides. And so that was a way to keep me safe and keep my training going during the pandemic. And pools shut down as well. And again, through the kindness of a really nice lady that trains at the YMCA, she offered her backyard pool, which was only 18 yards. It's a little short for us, about like 7 yards short, but it was better than nothing. And we also luckily have the ocean out here in San Diego, but it's a little chilly in the winter. And so, yeah, I was able to continue training in the backyard pool and also in the ocean. And then I built a gym in my garage. So I was able to lift weights and strength train there. And then I did Zoom video sessions with my strength coach. And finally, for the bike, because I'm a triathlete, my bike is hooked up indoors to a stationary trainer, and it sends all the data, the electronic information to my coach virtually. And so, yeah, so I was able to swim, bike, and run just in kind of a different way.
All right. So you mentioned, having a pool to use that maybe was a little bit shorter, but also using the ocean. So were there any differences you noticed between the two?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, actually, I just got done swimming in the ocean with my guide this morning, and, you definitely have more wildlife, a lot of waves and temperature differences in the ocean. Where we're going to be swimming in Tokyo, the water is quite warm. It's actually kind of hot. So trying to get acclimated to that by wearing a very thick wetsuit to make sure that we're kind of toasty warm, swimming in pools that are a little bit warmer than we're comfortable with to kind of get acclimated to those warmer water temperatures. And yeah, your stroke definitely changes from the ocean to the pool, depending on how choppy it is. But I do enjoy having the benefit of having the ocean right here. And most of my races are in the ocean as well.
Yeah. So, you train in 3 different ways, obviously running, swimming, and on the bike. So do you have to train triple times, or how do you balance training for all 3 of the sports?
I have a really good coach, and he writes the game plan for each week, and we touch base on a daily basis, sometimes a couple times a day, and he'll prescribe however many hours per week I'm going to be running, biking, and swimming and lifting weights. And I would say pretty much I run every other day and I bike every other day. And then I lift weights twice a week. And then swimming, when my shoulder is healthy, I've had some shoulder issues this year and had surgery. Normally I'm swimming 6 days a week.
Wow. So, all 3 parts of the triathlon are so different. What are your strategies for each section of the event?
The swim is about being strong but conservative, trying to take advantage of the fact that we've got some other swimmers in front of us to give us a little bit of a wake to swim off of, a little bit of drafting opportunity to save our energy. And then the bike is super fun. I really enjoy the bike portion of the triathlon. The strategy there is, again, like, go as hard as comfortable, but keeping it in check so that I can run well, because you can't go too hard on the bike. But, I have a really good pilot, and it's about making sure you're cornering well and saving time, seconds here, seconds there by taking good lines and really taking advantage of the course and cutting some of the turns and things like that really helps us. And also me staying super low in the back to make sure that I can keep the bike as balanced as possible for her to make her job easier and to stay as aerodynamic as possible. And then finally on the run, it's about making sure that I'm really, really smart. That first mile should almost feel a little bit too easy. And then the second mile should be very hard. And the third mile should feel like you want to pass out and you're just praying for that finish line. So yeah, that's kind of the game plan for Tokyo.
All right. So how did you get involved in paratriathlons?
Well, I have an autoimmune disease that took my eyesight when I was 22 is when I was diagnosed, and I was driving up until about age 32. So for another 10 years beyond that, as my disease progressed. And the treatment for my disease is high doses of steroids and chemotherapy to suppress the immune response that's attacking my eyes. And I gained a lot of weight. I gained 75 pounds from all of the medications. And I was a former swimmer from the time I was on swim team from the time I was 6 years old and all through high school. And someone suggested that I get back in the pool. So, but ironically, I was a breaststroker and a backstroker. I didn't really do freestyle. So, and all of triathlon swimming is freestyle swimming. So I got back in the pool and really enjoyed it and started to get a little bit more fitness. And then I started riding a stationary bike. And then eventually running on a treadmill, and someone through social media said, well, you're swimming and you're biking and you're running. Have you considered doing a triathlon? I know you're doing it basically indoors at this point. So this woman offered to guide me to race with me and be my eyes for the race. And we raced on a tandem bike, and we raced tethered at my waist during the swim and the run. And I had so much fun. I was immediately hooked. And here we are 8 years later, and I'm heading to Tokyo. It's pretty cool.
Wow, that is really an incredible journey. Thank you for sharing that. So can you talk about Camp No Sight, No Limits, the first ever camp for blind triathletes in the USA?
Yeah, so one of the things I discovered the more I got involved in my sport was that there were no coaches that specialized in working with athletes with vision impairments and also with hearing loss. And not that I'm an expert in coaching, but I am an expert blind person. So I figured I had some wisdom to impart. And so I decided to put together a camp down at the former Olympic Training Center in Chula Vista here in San Diego. And first camp, I think we had 13 blind athletes and 13 guides. And so we borrowed a bunch of tandem bikes. And one of the things that I knew was that there were a lot of really good beginner camps around the country. Dare to Try in Chicago, Challenge Athlete Foundation does a really nice job of introducing athletes to the sport, but there was no next level of, once they had done a triathlon, how to get faster while being blind and how to really take advantage of the skill set that you could learn, whether it was tethering techniques, whether it was communication while biking with your guide, how to do a transition really fast, even if you can't see. All these things I felt that I could teach people. So it was really, really fun. And I started that 5 years ago. And since then we've had, I think 41 athletes come through the camp, and one of which is now my teammate, and he's going to Tokyo. I'm so proud. He graduated from my camp. So it's been really, really exciting, and a lot of athletes that have gone on to do Ironman and other kinds of races. So yeah.
All right, that's really cool. And I love what you're doing and that camp and how you're making that kind of change. So what kind of impact do you hope your camp can have on the athletes in it?
I hope that it makes them realize that just because they are visually impaired, that they don't have to just be a participant in triathlon, that they can actually be competitive, that they actually can beat some people that have full vision or, two good legs, two good eyes, two good arms. That they are really capable of doing something at a high level. Just because they can't see doesn't mean that they can't be fast and train really hard. So that's what I'm hoping that a lot of the athletes get out of it, and that they get a lot of confidence.
That's incredible. I honestly, right now, I'm so inspired by what you're doing, and I'm so glad you were able to share this with us and everybody watching or listening. So what advice do you have for the next generation of Paralympic athletes?
I'm really excited to see what the future holds. Doors are opening all over the place for adaptive sports around the country. I'm seeing new and exciting clubs pop up. more local races that are making their courses friendly for wheelchair athletes, for athletes with amputations and blind athletes, and saying, hey, we welcome you to our race. We're excited to have you here. It's a more of an inclusive environment. I'm excited because I get a lot of people that have been contacting me that want to learn about guiding a blind athlete. They say, hey, I've accomplished all my athletic goals for myself. Like I raced an Ironman. I did, I've done Olympic distance triathlon, and I want to give back to the sport. How can I volunteer either at your camp or learn how to guide a blind athlete? So I think the future is really bright for the next generation because a lot of people want to get involved in parasports.
All right. So last question for you. What does the WSF, the Women's Sports Foundation, mean to you, and what does the work that it's doing mean to you?
It's really empowering to get the support that WSF has given us on the road to Tokyo, and also on the road to Rio as well. I've been involved with WSF, and just so exciting to see just amazing female mentors. I mean, you've got like Billie Jean King, and you've got Alana there, on the board, and just these just fast, incredible, talented, ferocious women that are paving the way for the rest of us and teaching us that, you can be really exceptional in your sport, and that it also carries over to the rest of your life after sport, that you can have a good career for yourself if that involves sport, if that doesn't, that's outside of sport, how it translates, and teaching us the way to get that done, and teaching the next generation that sports teaches leadership and camaraderie and teamwork. And I think that those are skills that are so great to take into your professional career, whatever that is, after sport is over for you.
Yeah, I think what you just touched on it's incredibly important. And I think that I feel so lucky to be able to work with the Women's Sports Foundation to highlight the stories of people like you, because they're often women's stories, sadly, the stories that don't get told enough. So I'm so honored to be able to do these interviews with the Women's Sports Foundation, and to be able to talk with you. That is all I have for you today, Amy. This was so much fun. I am so looking forward to watching you in the Paralympics, and it's been an honor to highlight your story. Be safe and good luck. And yeah, I'm so excited for you.
Thank you so much, Pepper. I really appreciate you having me. Everybody can tune in to the Olympic channel on Friday, August 27th to watch my race. It'll be at 5:30 Eastern Time, 2:30 Pacific. Again, that's on the Olympic channel, and we hope to make you proud over there in Tokyo. Thanks, WSF, for all your support.
I'm so glad it's not at like midnight, so I can
me too.
Live. That's so exciting. All right, thank you so much, and good luck.